Now that we've studied the essence and summary of God's law, we're ready to look at the individual laws that make up the 10 Commandments. Remember that the first 3 address our relationship with God, and the next 7 address our relationship with people. Love God, love your neighbor. Each commandment protects something important. As we look at the individual commandments, we want to identify what God seeks to protect with each one. The first commandment protects God's glory. The safe here doesn't mean that God is trying to keep his glory away from us. He's protecting his glory from our abuse so that we don't misuse it. So what's glory? One context in which we use the word is with champions. It looks like this runner just won a race at the Olympics. Now she's basking in the glory. The attention of tens of thousands of fans is on her. They're all clapping and screaming and taking pictures, all for her. It's a glorious moment for her. I think that gives us a good idea of what God is protecting with the first commandment. Glory is the honor that someone deserves. When God says, "You shall have no other gods," he's saying, don't take the honor that belongs to me alone and give it to anything or to anyone else. Some people, actually many people, don't believe that there is something such as a God at all. They don't believe in any higher power. They are called atheists. Atheist is basically just a Greek word that means no God. Some other people aren't sure. They think, maybe there is a higher power somewhere out there, maybe not. They are called agnostics. Agnostic is from another Greek word that basically means I don't know. The first commandment doesn't just condemn atheists and agnostics. Some people think you're fine as long as you believe in something, that it doesn't matter what you call him, as long as you believe that there is a God, that's what's important. But no, the first commandment says, you shall have no other gods. According to the Bible, there is only one true God, the triune God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So now some obvious examples come to mind of having other gods. You may remember when the Israelites worshipped the golden calf. This happened before the ink was even dry in the 10 Commandments. You can read about it in Exodus chapter 32. Moses went up Mount Sinai to get the hard copy of the 10 Commandments, and the Israelites thought he was taking too long. So they made a statue of a cow out of their earrings and worshipped it. They said things like, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." Needless to say, that didn't end well. Another false god the Israelites were prone to worship was named Baal. The people who lived around them thought that Baal was the god who made it rain. When they worshipped him, that never ended well either. But not all idolatry involves idols or statues. Throughout history and still today, people worship the sun, moon, and stars, or they worship nature in general. The Wiccan religion, which is witchcraft, that does this. It's growing in popularity. Another example of open idolatry is the fastest growing religion in the world. Are you familiar with this symbol? This is a symbol for Islam. The God of Islam is Allah. Allah is the Arabic word for God. But Allah is not the true triune God. He's a false God. This may all strike us as strange. Why would people make up gods to worship? Or why would someone make a statue and then bow down to it? Maybe the simplest answer is that they're afraid. They want to be safe and secure, taken care of. So they turn to these false gods and imagine that they can provide what they need. The problem is that false gods can't give them what they need. But I suppose that gives us a good definition of what it means to have a God. It's more than just to believe that something exists, but it also means to put your trust in it, that it's going to provide what you need. So the explanation to the first commandment hits the nail on the head. To fear, love, and trust in something above everything else. God says, put your fear, love, and trust in me, because only I can make you safe and secure and give you what you need. What does it mean to fear, love, and trust? We generally associate fear with being afraid, and this fear of God involves being afraid of him if he's against you, but it's more than that. Let's say to hold in reverence. Another way to put it is to recognize that he's greater than you are. So to fear above all things is to realize that God is greater than everyone and everything else. To love isn't the emotional butterflies in the stomach kind of love, but the attitude that considers someone else to be more important, in this case, most important. And to trust means to believe in, to count on. In the First Commandment, God says, I'm the only true God, so put me first. Realize that there is no one, nothing greater than I am, and trust me, that in me and in me alone are you safe and secure and have everything you need. And once we get that, we realize that the First Commandment prohibits a whole lot more than bowing down to a statue or calling on the name of Allah, those things we call open idolatry. People can make all sorts of things into false gods, things we could call secret idolatry. Open idolatry is the worship of false gods that someone readily admits. Secret idolatry is the worship of false gods that someone doesn't admit. They might not even admit it to themselves. What are some things that people consider most important and put their trust in for safety and security that they make into gods? Maybe the most popular one of all is money. A person may think, if only I have enough money, I'll be able to get everything that I need and want. I'll be safe and secure and happy. If that's my attitude, then money has become my God. Or closely related to money, a house and all other possessions. If I seek my safety and security and fulfillment in such things, then I've made those things into my God. We call this materialism. Even family. It's good to love your family, and it's a wonderful, God-pleasing thing when a home is a place of security and refuge. But to love your family more than God, or to seek your security and fulfillment in your family at the expense of God, is to make a blessing from God into a false God. Those are just a few common examples. We could name a million more. Why doesn't God want us to make such things into our gods? They are all good things, gifts from Him, but they cannot provide us with safety, security, fulfillment, salvation, and everything else we need. Only the true God can do that. It's for our good that He commands us to fear, love, and trust in Him above all things. So in the First Commandment, God simply commands that we give Him what belongs to Him. He's protecting His glory, the honor that He deserves. He commands us to fear, love, and trust in Him above all things, because He and He alone can provide us with safety, security, salvation, and everything else that we need.